the only exercise you need for each muscle group after 40. Let's get straight to the point. These are 12 movements, one for each muscle group, starting with the back. Exercise number 1, single arm lat pull down. If you could choose only one exercise for your back after 40 years old, this would be it. The single arm lat pull down works the latissimus dorsi, the rhomboids, and the spinal erectors, but the real advantage lies in training one arm at a time. After decades of pulling weight, it is normal for one side of the body to have become dominant. By isolating each arm, you correct that compensation, increase muscle recruitment on the weaker side, and improve proprioception. The range of motion is also greater, since without a bar blocking the path in front of your chest, the arm travels a longer path, pulling the elbow past the body's midline. To perform it correctly, sit facing the high pulley. Grip the single arm handle with your arm extended, and pull your elbow toward your ribs, squeezing your back at the end before returning in a controlled manner. A bonus tip is to slightly rotate your torso in the direction of the pulling arm, which increases the contraction. A common mistake is using your body to generate momentum instead of letting your back do the work. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions per arm. People with recent shoulder injuries or a compromised rotator cuff should adjust the range of motion or consult a professional before including this movement. Exercise number 2, incline dumbbell curl. After 40, training biceps is not just about vanity. It is about maintaining grip strength and the ability to carry weight in everyday life. And if there is one exercise that does this better than any other, it is the incline dumbbell curl. By sitting on an inclined bench, the arm is positioned behind the torso line, which places the long head of the biceps in a greater stretch from the very beginning of the movement. This stretch under load is one of the most powerful triggers for hypertrophy, as it increases time under tension precisely during the eccentric phase, when the muscle lengthens while still under tension. To perform it, set the bench to a 45-degree incline. Sit down with a dumbbell in each hand, and let your arms hang back in line with your shoulders. Curl the elbow, bringing the dumbbell up toward the shoulder without swinging your torso to assist the movement. A bonus tip is to slightly rotate your wrist on the way up, as if turning a doorknob, increasing muscle recruitment of the biceps brachii. A mistake I see many people make is using body momentum to lift the weight, taking tension away from the muscle. Remember that progressive overload does not only mean increasing the load, increasing repetitions from 8 to 12 also counts as real progress. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. People with elbow tendonitis or shoulder bursitis should reduce the range of motion at first. Exercise number 3, flat dumbbell bench press. The chest is divided into 3 portions, upper, middle, and lower, and the upper portion is by far the hardest to develop, due to the angle at which the fibers insert into the clavicle. Many people, upon hearing this, start training chest almost entirely on an inclined bench. The problem is that the upper chest is also the smallest of the 3 portions, so focusing too much on it neglects the majority of the muscle. That is why the flat dumbbell bench press remains the most complete exercise for the chest after 40, because it recruits the middle and lower portions in a balanced way, which represent most of the chest's volume. Sports biomechanics research shows that dumbbells, compared to a barbell, increase the range of motion and shoulder stabilizer recruitment, since each arm controls the weight independently. Lie on a flat bench. Hold a dumbbell in each hand at chest level with your elbows slightly below shoulder height, and press upward without fully locking out the elbows at the top. Keep your shoulder blades retracted against the bench throughout the entire movement, which protects the shoulders and improves chest activation. A common mistake is letting the elbows flare out too wide, shifting the load onto the shoulder instead of the chest. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. People with a history of rotator cuff injury should limit how far they lower the dumbbell. Exercise number 4, cable lateral raise. If you want shoulders that appear broader without necessarily gaining weight on the scale, the lateral deltoid is responsible for that visual effect, the famous V-taper of the torso. And the best exercise for that specific portion is not the dumbbell lateral raise, but the cable lateral raise. The difference lies in the tension curve. With dumbbells, gravity makes the weight feel lighter at the start and heavier near the top, so the muscle receives less stimulus precisely in the initial phase. With the cable, tension remains constant from start to finish, recruiting the lateral deltoid more completely. Position yourself sideways to the low pulley, grip the handle with the arm closest to the machine, and raise your arm laterally to shoulder height with a slight wrist rotation, as if pouring water from a pitcher. Control the descent slowly, as this is the phase that builds the most muscle. A common mistake is using the trapezius to raise the arm, shrugging the shoulder during the movement, which takes focus away from the deltoid. Keep the shoulder down and back throughout the entire movement. Progress by reducing the rest interval from 60 to 45 seconds before increasing the load. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions per side. People with shoulder impingement syndrome should limit the raise to shoulder height without going beyond. Exercise number 5. Triceps rope pushdown. The triceps accounts for 2/3 of the arm's volume, more than the biceps itself. And yet, it is one of the most poorly trained muscle groups in gyms. Among all possible variations, the rope pushdown stands out because, unlike a straight bar or V-bar, the rope allows you to spread your hands apart at the end of the movement, rotating your wrists outward. This adjustment increases the peak contraction across all 3 heads of the triceps, especially the lateral head, which is the most visible from the outside. To perform it, grip the rope with your palms facing each other. Keep your elbows tucked close to your body, and extend your arms downward, spreading your hands apart and rotating your wrists at the end of the movement, as if you were splitting the rope in half. Return in a controlled manner without letting your elbows drift away from your torso. A bonus tip is to hold the peak contraction for 1 second, which increases time under tension and intensifies the stimulus. A common mistake is letting the body lean forward, using the torso's weight to push the rope down, which takes the work away from the triceps. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. People with epicondylitis, known as tennis elbow, should reduce the load and prioritize controlled execution. Exercise number 6, seated military press. Lifting your arms overhead is one of the most basic and, at the same time, most neglected movements the human body performs. Putting a bag in an overhead compartment on a plane, reaching something on a high shelf, pushing a heavy door. All of these depend on the strength of the anterior deltoid. The seated military press is the most complete exercise for that portion of the shoulder because the seated position eliminates lower back compensation, forcing the deltoid to do the work on its own. I will be honest, it was only after 40 that I truly understood why personal trainers insisted so much on the seated version. And the answer is simple. Less compensation means more results and less risk the day after. Sit with your back straight, hold the dumbbells at shoulder height with your palms facing forward, and press upward until your elbows are almost fully extended without locking them hard. Lower in a controlled manner to ear level. A common mistake is arching the lower back to gain range of motion, which overloads the spine. If you feel discomfort when bringing your arms behind the ear line, reduce the range of motion. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. People with shoulder impingement syndrome or bursitis should avoid bringing the weight behind the headline. Exercise number 7, mountain climber. There is an important difference between having hypertrophied abs and having defined abs. Hypertrophy comes from repeated muscle recruitment that makes the muscle grow. Definition, the famous six-pack, depends mainly on body fat percentage, which depends almost entirely on diet. That said, the mountain climber is one of the most efficient movements for the core after 40, as it combines intense muscle activation with an elevated heart rate. Electromyography research shows that dynamic core exercises, such as the mountain climber, activate the deep spinal stabilizers more than isolated static exercises, contributing to the prevention of lower back pain. To perform it, place your hands on the floor at shoulder width, body in a plank position, and drive one knee at a time toward your chest, alternating quickly while keeping the hips stable without letting them rise and fall. A bonus tip is to imagine a glass of water resting on your back that cannot spill, which helps maintain torso stability. A common mistake is letting the hips rise too high, which takes tension away from the core. Progress by increasing the duration from 30 to 60 seconds per set. Perform 3 to 4 sets. People with acute lower back pain or an active herniated disc should avoid this movement until cleared by a medical professional. Exercise number 8, dumbbell shrug. After decades of sitting in front of a computer or driving for hours, it is common for the upper trapezius to become tight and, at the same time, underdeveloped, creating that posture of shoulders rounded forward. The dumbbell shrug is the most direct exercise to strengthen this region, improving posture and the stability of the shoulder girdle, which is the foundation for virtually every shoulder and back exercise. Stand upright, hold a dumbbell in each hand at your sides, and raise your shoulders straight up toward your ears without rotating them forward or backward. Hold the contraction for 1 second at the top and lower in a controlled manner. A bonus tip is to avoid using your neck to assist the movement, keeping your head in a neutral position throughout the entire movement. A common mistake is performing the movement in a circular motion, rolling the shoulders, which does not increase results and can irritate the joints. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 12 to 15 repetitions. People with a cervical herniated disc or chronic neck pain should use lighter loads and a reduced range of motion, prioritizing control over the weight lifted. Exercise number 9, Romanian deadlift. The hamstrings are, without a doubt, the most neglected muscle group in the legs. Most people train their quadriceps obsessively and forget the back of the thigh, creating an imbalance that increases the risk of knee injuries, since the hamstrings stabilize that joint during running, squats, and changes of direction. The Romanian deadlift is the most complete exercise for this region because it directly trains hip extension, the primary driver of growth for this muscle group, and is more determinant for hypertrophy than isolated knee flexion. Studies on eccentric hamstring training show a significant reduction in the risk of muscle injuries in athletes who include this work in their routine, and the Romanian deadlift places a strong emphasis precisely on the eccentric phase, responsible for up to half of a workout's hypertrophy potential. Hold the dumbbells in front of your body, knees slightly bent and fixed, and hinge your torso forward, pushing your hips back until you feel a strong stretch in the back of your thighs. Return by squeezing your glutes at the top. A common mistake is bending the knees too much, turning the movement into a squat. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. People with a lumbar herniated disc should pay extra attention to spinal posture during the descent. Before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Having constant access to science-based information is what will help you progress with long-term health in the world of exercise. Exercise number 10, Bulgarian split squat. The traditional barbell back squat is an excellent exercise, but after 40, the compression of a heavy barbell on the spine may not be worth the risk for those who have already accumulated decades of joint wear. The Bulgarian split squat solves this problem by being unilateral, which drastically reduces the load required on the spine to generate the same stimulus on the quadriceps, while also demanding more from the hip and ankle stabilizers, improving balance and proprioception, capacities that decline with age if not trained. Rest the top of one foot on a bench behind your body, the other foot in front, and lower yourself by bending the front knee until it reaches a 90-degree angle, keeping your torso slightly leaning forward. Push through the floor with your front foot to return to the starting position. A bonus tip is to keep your weight concentrated on the heel of your front foot throughout the entire movement. A common mistake is letting the front knee travel too far past the toes in an uncontrolled way, which can overload the patellar tendon. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions per leg. People with active meniscus injuries or patellar tendonitis should reduce the range of motion and avoid descending to the full angle at first. Exercise number 11. Hip thrust. Here is a fact that 99% of people do not know. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the human body. Even so, many men ignore direct glute training, assuming that squats and lunges are enough, and end up compromising aesthetics, functional strength, and pelvic stability, which is directly related to the prevention of lower back pain. The hip thrust is the most efficient exercise for isolating and directly overloading the gluteus maximus, even more so than the squat itself. There is also an interesting effect linked to training the largest muscle in the body, the EPOC effect, or excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Basically, the extra amount of calories your body continues burning after the workout to recover. The larger the muscle trained, the greater this effect. Rest your upper back against a bench, feet flat on the floor at hip width, and drive your hips upward until your body forms a straight line from shoulders to knees, squeezing your gluteus maximus firmly at the top. Lower in a controlled manner without letting your hips touch the floor between repetitions. A common mistake is using the lower back to drive the movement instead of the glutes. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions. People with anterior hip pain or greater trochanteric bursitis should adjust the positioning of the load over the hip. Exercise number 12, calf raise. The calf is known among physiologists as the body's second heart because its contraction helps pump blood back up to the heart against the force of gravity, a role that is especially important for those who spend long hours sitting. The calf raise is the only exercise you truly need for this region, but the secret lies in how you perform it. Doing the movement on a step rather than on flat ground allows for a greater range of motion, with the heel dropping below the level of the toes, increasing muscle recruitment. Another important point is to vary the foot position across sets, alternating between parallel, toes pointing inward, and toes pointing outward, since each position emphasizes a different portion of the muscle. And because the calf has a predominance of slow twitch fibers, it responds better to longer sets, between 15 and 20 repetitions, than to short and heavy sets. Stand on the edge of a step, supporting only the front part of your feet, and rise as high as possible, squeezing firmly at the top, before lowering in a controlled manner until you feel the stretch. A common mistake is performing the movement too quickly without controlling the descent. Perform 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions. Beyond aesthetics, strong calves directly improve balance, which helps prevent falls, a risk that naturally increases with age. People with Achilles tendonitis should reduce the range of motion at first, avoiding lowering all the way below the step line. These are the 12 essential movements to transform your physique and your health after 40 years old. I know we still need to talk about the best movements for forearms, but for forearms, we need 2 exercises. So if you want to see which 2 are the best, we have a video appearing on screen right now showing each one in more detail. Make sure to check it out. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and may God bless you, my friend.